Hey, everybody on YouTube. How's everybody doing? I decided to open with this music again because it feels so dramatic. I love that it made people so quiet at Trump's rally. It inspires reverence. And I want you to be reverent of what goes on here. What do you guys think of the studio? You think it needs something different so it doesn't look like I'm in a weird hotel or something? What could I do better? Let me know. Oh, I was going to see about playing my intro today. Let's see if we can do that. I'll see if I can find it. I'm working on a new computer because the old computer completely broke. It won't even reboot now. On the show today, we're going to discuss whether it's really happening or not. And I already did a poll to see what people think, because it's important to divide people along different lines. So I want to divide people along whether they think it is happening or whether they think it's still the same shit. That's the poll I put out. So make sure to vote if you're on YouTube. Let me know if it's working on Rockfin. I'm alone tonight. Okay, I think I wasn't live on Rockfin, and now I think I am. I'm alone tonight and alone other days too. I'm doing more streams though because I'm trying to connect with people. I think it's good for me. And I do want to talk about the end of the world because this is actually, it has been from the beginning, an apocalyptic show. I do have an apocalyptic vision. So what I said to Jelena on the last show about it just being the same as ever and this time being no different, it's not, maybe I was being devil's advocate a little bit because maybe this time is different. Maybe it is different. It is different in some ways. And there is an alien, I believe, that was channeled that said we're going into some different kind of reality. So are we, or is that something people think? Like something humans have thought forever? Like how people have been thinking Jesus was going to come back ever since Jesus died. Everybody's been saying he would come back a bunch of times in the past. He never did so far, but he never said that. He said, you don't know the day, you don't know the hour. So just be ready because it could happen anytime. But then some people have chosen to say, oh, it's going to happen. But it hasn't so far. Been over 2,000 years. Jesus said he would come back in this lifetime. Back then, he was like, oh yeah, I'll be back in this lifetime. Don't worry about it. Then no Jesus. It's like, where is he? What happened? And so people have been predicting ever since that happened. People have been saying, oh, he's coming back. So far, it hasn't happened, right? Unless maybe it has. And then he came in disguise. Maybe he walks among us today. Maybe it's Owen Benjamin. I mean, we don't know. I don't know how Jesus is supposed to come back. He said he would, though. He said he would, but what do you say then? Like he said he would, but he hasn't yet. So what does that mean about the rest of the stuff he said? You know what I mean? Because when you catch somebody, if they're wrong about one thing, then you have to say, oh, well. But everybody's wrong now and then. Even Jesus could be wrong. So I don't know. I don't want to hold it against him. But we're here to talk about the end of the world. Let me see if I have an intro for the show. LTV intro. Let me see if I can play this. I'm going to see if I can play my old intro with the current audio setup I have. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Good to see you. What do you think? Vote on the poll. You decide. We had a spirited conversation on the last show, Jelena and myself, about her beliefs and my beliefs, about her beliefs. And I said some things that were probably insulting, but I can't help it sometimes. Sorry I insulted you. I'm autistic. That's all I need is a sign to say that. Then you could be rude to people and they could forgive you. But I did give her a hard time. So I said, people have been saying that for a long time. And QAnon people believe it, but it might be true. That's the problem. So that's why I want to analyze today. Maybe it's true. And then I have other news too. I have stuff like trans news, gender bending news, gay news. I have a clip of Biden that I didn't play in the last show that I could play. And then I have various other things. Oh, really good clip of Don Lemon getting schooled on slavery and reparations. It's pretty funny. So I'll make sure to play that for you too. Let me see if I can share this item with you. Let's see if it works. It's very easy. I could say, since I've started live streaming, this new technology, let's see if it works. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news. Yeah. See how cool that is? That's this new streaming software. Even you could be a live streamer. It's pretty easy these days. Just you can use this thing called StreamYard and then does all these things. You can put up signs and then I can put up my buy me a coffee sign. Something happened. I should mention, there was a concern on this show that there was racism, and my co-host is mixed race. And she thought it was possible that someone called her the N-word, but actually they just said N-word. I didn't think so at the time, but she was concerned because the guy said N-word's voice gives me a boner. And she was like, well, she was probably thinking, well, I know that people get a boner listening to me. That's what she was thinking. I told her. But it turned out he's gay. And he was getting a boner for the guy that calls in the show and says the N-word, and he just chose a bad choice of words. So we want to say that racism was averted on this show. I knew it was impossible. I knew it. I was like, there's no way somebody would say that about you, Jelena. But she was feeling sensitive, I guess. So I just wanted to say that guy gave extra coffees and said that he apologized for the misinterpretation of events. But it wasn't bad. You could read it that way. He said N-word's voice gives me a boner. So she thought, well, people say that about her. I told her she should do some ASMR for whisper perverts. Have you ever seen that stuff? There are so many different ways you can use your talents on the internet. I mean, they make it so easy. All you have to do is be able to do something people want to see. And you don't even have to be perfect, but just have a talent. It's something that people are interested in. And some people are into whispering and crinkling. So you can just do ASMR. In fact, my mother-in-law would tell me, that's how I learned having my mother-in-law visit. She would say, oh yeah, you can make money doing ASMR, do ASMR. Or if I told her that I was like, yeah, I could have made a bunch of money talking about QAnon. She was like, "Why didn't you do that? Like, who cares?" So that's my mother-in-law. I don't know. I think maybe she was joking a little bit, but I'm happy to know she's not concerned about authenticity or standards. As long as it's popular, just go ahead and say it. So it is popular to talk about the end of the world. So, and this actually, as a matter of fact, is an apocalyptic show with an apocalyptic vision, an apocalyptic economic vision, which I've discussed for a long time. The only thing about it is, and you can answer the poll to say if you really think it's happening now, because maybe things are happening now. The only thing is, I've been saying that things are going to crash for a long time, like the stock market, for example. This is why I talked to Jelena about it. She thinks the world is changing in a major way. I don't want to speak behind her back. I'm just talking about this topic because it's interesting, actually. It's interesting to say, is this time different? Is it different or not? What do people think? I don't want to just say what I think. What do you think? Do you think it's different? Because it is important. What I was saying was that it's a very human thing to think that this time is different, that humans have done that forever. And we always seem to think that this time is special and this, the time that Jesus was born, there were a lot of messiahs. People were looking for messiahs at the time. It was a messianic time. He came at a time when people were looking for messiahs. We are at a time now when people are talking about like the end of the world, a change of frequencies. But that is also what the new age is. Like new age is, oh, shit's about to change. We are about to go through a transition. All you have to do, stop me if you've heard this before. All you have to do is raise your frequency, contribute to like the energy, the global energy, and we're all going to make it. WAGMI. That's it. That's all you have to do. That's what a new age cult type of philosophy, you could say. Just got to do this. We're going to lead people, or you can help lead people into the new age because of frequencies. And you might say, oh, because of the planets, we're going to have a new age. Like Jelena's into planets. And I've been into stuff going on like that before too. I was into super moons. I saw significance to super moons. But then I realized like nothing happened actually. When I thought some stuff would, nothing actually happened. So that's why I've started to rethink it and just think, oh, maybe it's safer to just assume that nothing ever happens of significance. Nothing ever really changes, It's safer just to go with that, because if you go with that, then most of the time you're going to be right. But I guess what people say is that like eventually one of these days, shit's really going to change. People are really going to wake up. There's really going to be like an awakening. And that's what QAnon preyed on, was people thought, and I feel like maybe it's something when you're first waking up, as they say, when you're first like figuring out that they've been lying to you, that maybe you're more susceptible to thinking those kinds of magical thoughts, like magical thinking. Maybe you're more susceptible to it. But it can be problematic, I should say. I was going to say debilitating. It can be problematic. So for myself, for example, I thought the economy was going to crash in 2015. And I was working and I thought, the economy's going to crash, stock market's going to crash, everything's going to go to shit. I was in the car business. I was like, car business is going to go to shit. If it was slow, I thought it's slow because shit's hitting the fan. Everything's going to shit. And then I quit. and started doing something different, which is cool because I did want to do something different and try to change the world and stuff to make it a better place. That's what I thought. It's like, oh, I should focus my energy on trying to make things better rather than selling expensive cars. So I did that, but maybe that wasn't the right thing to do because things still kept going the way they were, and the economy still hasn't really crashed. And I could have been selling cars this whole time, expensive cars, and they've gone up in value. So maybe that would have been smarter than thinking that everything was going to crash and like buying silver and stuff. Maybe. But on the other hand, maybe I'm right and shit really is going to hit the fan. And maybe things like silver and cryptocurrency are really, really genuinely going to go to the moon. And it hasn't happened yet. But I wonder about the people. There are people that are doomers. And I laugh a little bit about doomers because they're always saying, and the Civil War thing, I don't know if I believe in that. I kind of feel like we'll probably keep going the same way. I probably won't have a civil war and stuff. Government will probably stay the same. But you tell me. You tell me what you think. I do think that we are headed towards economic catastrophe, worse than we've experienced, maybe ever. So maybe I am apocalyptic because I do believe that. I do think we're set up for a financial catastrophe, which could be the worst in human history, you could say, because of the way the financial system is so interconnected now. It could be the worst ever because it couldn't have been as bad as it could be now because now things are so connected. Before, things weren't as connected, so you could have an economic collapse one place and it wouldn't necessarily happen another place. But even in the Great Depression, we had the stock market crashed and then they had depressions everywhere. So there was still that contagion. That, I believe, is happening. That is happening. It's happening. And it's going to be major, and maybe it'll be the biggest economic upheaval of all time. Or it could be like other economic upheavals in the past. To say it's like special, to say now it's special, or that it's going to result in the overthrow of our government or anything, I don't know about that. I just don't know. Don't know exactly how it's going to work out. But that's what I was saying to Jay. I was just saying, just think about it, because history is full of lots of stories. I'm really interested in history, and it's worthwhile to zoom out whenever you're thinking about today, and because people get overwhelmed, they're like, "Holy crap!" Like people are really worried about crime right now, but it's really actually not that bad, you know. Compared to how it was in the past. Like people are like, New York City is like hell on earth. But actually, compared to the 80s, it's awesome. I'm not saying I've been there and stuff, but I've seen the videos and seen the statistics and stuff. Yeah, crime is up. But the 80s was crazy. Like if people were around back then, like you couldn't go to New York without getting mugged. That's not necessarily the case now. But people have like a recency bias. They think, holy crap, shit's on fire. It's been worse. And as far as social change and stuff, the 60s were way crazier for social change and social conflict and whether there might be a civil war or something. I mean, the hippie movement, that's way different. That was a big deal, big freaking deal. Then we had the civil rights movement. That was a huge deal. Way bigger than like Black Lives Matter. So that's what I think is like, yeah, shit's weird, and shit is going to hit the fan in a major way. And there was an alien that did say, or it allegedly said in a book that I read, the Law of One, which is transmitted by Ra, who is apparently a space alien of some sort, said that we are headed from third density to fourth density, which would be a major change in the fabric of reality. And I think that Alien said that that was going to happen sometime around now, from what I remember from reading that transcription. So it's possible. And do I believe that aliens actually manipulate things in this universe? Yeah, kind of. Like things are manipulated, but I believe they're manipulated at higher levels, basically. As above, so below, right? So there are things that happen on higher levels than the one you're thinking about right now that manipulate reality. And so when it happens on this level, it just seems like it's natural and that it occurs organically, when as a matter of fact, it's being manipulated from higher up. So do I believe there's a special counsel? Kind of. Somebody is fucking with things because, it's hard to explain the fact that it seems like, as Slow News Day says, that it seems like a cartoon, like it seems kind of like a movie sometimes, right? Like you see stories like this, and you think, oh, this can't be real, right? I'll show you. It just gets stupid sometimes. You're like, that's when you say, is God fucking with me? Like, am I seeing this right? Sometimes reality seems that way. That's one reason people think we're living in a simulation. And it's possible, really. Something like a simulation. So you have stuff like this going on in the world, which is this high school teacher wearing giant breasts to school. Like that doesn't happen in a normal world. It doesn't happen normally. This is like a strange thing that's happening. Maybe unique to our time, maybe. Although people act like perversion is new. Perverts have been around for a while. This person is a pervert who wears giant breasts and says it's part of their gender expression. And now the school is being forced to defend the person. So you've seen it already, probably. Giant prosthetic breasts being worn in class, which I think is inappropriate. And it is funny that they can't say anything about it. But is it damaging students? Like, no. If I just think of myself as a high school student, 15 years old or something, it's really freaking weird, but it's not like damaging me. It's just really, really weird. Like, oh, I have a really weird teacher that wears giant fake boobs. But I'm not going to become trans or anything from seeing it. If anything, it might make me think, oh, yeah, this trans shit is crazy. I'm not going to do that. So do I think actual harm is being done? Like, am I afraid of 15-year-olds being exposed to giant fake breasts? Not really. But let's be serious. Like, that's not part of gender expression. That's a perversion of some sort. It's obviously, those are kink or fetish size breasts, not just your regular, I want to seem like a woman strap on breasts. So yeah, sometimes it seems like the world has gone completely crazy. So I understand that. But on the other hand, things swinging the other way too. So I want to share this story as long as we're talking about transgender stuff. Let's see how the poll's doing. Let's see. Is it happening? 55% say it's happening. Wow, it's actually a super close poll. 55% say it's happening. 45% says the same shit. So wow, it's really evenly split. We are divided. Just like when it's me and Jelena on the show. We're divided. You guys, half of you think yes, it is happening, and half of you think it's the same thing. Yeah, I don't know what to say. But stuff is changing. Let me show you this, just to let you know it's not all crazy. The governor of Virginia, not Northam, Youngkin, who I bet on as like a future bet on the election, just as a long shot because I won money on him before. He shut down the transgender stuff at schools pretty much. So I'll show you that. And he's going to go on tour around the country now to see how it's going to go for him running for president. So I took a long shot bid on him because I think you can buy it for like 5 cents or something to win $1 if he ever became president. So Virginia restricted what they say in the Washington Post is they're restricting the rights of transgender students. And as a matter of fact, there are rights they weren't entitled, like using a bathroom that's different from what you were born as when you say that's a right, they took that away, yes, but it was a right that they didn't have before. So saying they're taking away rights is a little bit of a stretch. Of course, that's where the Washington Post goes with it. And of course, it's like it's anti-LGBTQ, what Governor Youngkin did in Virginia. But he did restrict it so that now kids, if you're going to refer to them as a different gender, the kid already has to have it. It has to be official. A kid can't just say, "Oh, I want you to refer to me as this name and as a female," or whatever, the opposite, vice versa. They can't just say that anymore in Virginia. They have to have officially changed their name and have documentation for them to request that they be referred to by a different name. So no more willy-nilly, I'm going to show up to school and be a girl today. It has to be serious. And so that's one thing that's going on in schools. Let me see if I can see what else. Also, parents will have to be told if their kid is going through any transgender stuff. But those are the main things. So they make it really hard to change your name and gender at school. And they make you use the restroom and locker room for the gender that was assigned to you at birth. That's what they say, assigned to you at birth. What does that even mean, assigned to you at birth? What you were born as. You're born with a penis or a vagina, typically. Or if something crazy happens, then yeah, sometimes something crazy happens. But that's not normal. Doesn't mean that because sometimes crazy shit happens that you're actually born in the wrong body. It's difficult to have those beliefs. I guess. I don't know. It's not hard for me, but it's difficult because they say it's transphobic. And I don't want to be offensive to people. I just don't believe, that it's possible to change gender. That's all. And I certainly don't believe you can be non-gendered. You heard about the new non-gendered castmate of SNL, who's like a woman. Oh, we got the first non-binary. It's a girl. What are they even talking about? What are these non-binary people talking about? Oh, I'm non-binary today. What do you make a choice? Like, it's just a cop-out. It's not real. It's not real. You're not really non-binary. You're still a girl or a guy. I mean, I don't know. It's funny, right? One thing is I don't always understand why people would be offended by things like that. Like, why is that offensive to people? Because they want to think, oh, no, affirm. I was born in the wrong body. Well, I don't think that's possible. So you can pretend that's cool and we can play along, but it's just a game. We're just playing, right? We're just acting. As long as that's clear, then cool. No problem. We can all pretend. We know how to do that. So Anyway, that's another transgender story. Here's another. This is great. The Atlantic. I mean, what are people thinking? This is a story from The Atlantic about the transgender thing. Just the case for co-ed sports. They could call it the case for injuries in sports. This person argues that men and women really aren't that different. That's the argument. Oh, men and women are only different because of how they were raised or because of expectations or something. So actually, as far as sports goes, men and women should just be able to play the same games. They shouldn't even be separated by gender. What do you think of that? Separating sports by sex doesn't make sense. Oh, okay. Well, let's see what happens when women play rugby with men. Let's see how that goes, really. And then we'll see how many women decide they want to play the sports that are non-gendered with actual men or people who say they're like non-binary, but they're men. So yeah, we do live in weird times. You can support the show if you want to support the show. And we work for donations. You can go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil, and I'll read your comment on the stream. Buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. We're demonetized and de-PayPal'd and everything. So, or if you're on Rockfin, you can also tip. They're on Rockfin. And they're also good. And I'll also read it. And you can also go to our website, truthclothing.io, to check out our t-shirts. Thank you for that. And yes, I will read your comments. So I have more. Do I have more gay and transgender stuff? I was just going to say something really controversial about libs of TikTok posting about this book that's in a library. This book is gay, it says. And she's saying it's really bad to have this book. I have a controversial opinion about that. She shared this, that there's a book here called This Book is Gay, which talks about like how to use gay sex apps, for example, and maybe talks a little bit about gay sex. And so she's calling out this school and trying to make sure they get in trouble for showing this book. This book is gay. So my opinion about that is actually, I think gay books are okay because as far as I know, the numbers are that people aren't actually becoming more gay. I was looking into this because I was curious. Can you really make somebody gay? Like, I wonder, because I know for me, I'm not into it. Doesn't matter. You could expose me to it. You can show me gay pornography. I'm not going to be gay. You know, I could read this book. It's not going to make me gay. I think most people are like that. I think most people are either gay or they're not. They're gay or they're straight. And that means they either think it's cool, like having sex with the same sex, or they don't think it's cool. And that if they read a book or something about it, then it's probably not going to convince them. I just don't think that. I don't know, but I don't think that. I think the numbers actually say that even though now they say like 20% of kids identify as LGBTQIA+, they aren't actually being more gay. They're not actually being more gay. They're just they're identifying as like TQIA+. They're identifying as something, but they're actually not being gay, because I feel like you're kind of, I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. I kind of think you're gay or you're not. And some people, yes, like maybe some people who are secretly gay and don't realize they're gay could be exposed to something gay and then all of a sudden realize that they're kind of gay. That's possible, but they were probably gay to begin with. Probably. I don't know for sure. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a biologist. But I'm just saying from my perspective. And I do believe that some people are just gay and that you can't just change also. Like uh, Milo pretended to. I don't think Milo became straight, for example. I don't think that's possible. Conversion therapy, I don't think it's possible. For trans, it is, though. For trans, yes, you can convert someone. You can be converted into being trans, and you can convert it out of being trans. That's possible. Converted from actually wanting to have sex with the same gender, I don't think that's possible. I just feel like it's kind of part what's going on up there. So anyway, I commented to Libs of TikTok. I said, just focus on the trans stuff, because the gay stuff isn't really the problem, I don't think. Because, like I said, by the numbers, more people aren't being gay, supposedly. So I know it's controversial. Oh, check this out. I showed you a salute at the Trump rally when everybody held up the one finger and everybody was silent during the QAnon song. So here, this guy is posted this video and said, yes, this is a Nazi salute. I'll show this. I'll show the video. He says, yes, this is a Nazi salute. And it's at a campaign event in Pennsylvania, 2022. Democracy is literally on the ballot in November. So that's what this guy tweeted. Tristan Snell. Yes, this is a Nazi salute. So here we go.
And we'll do that by putting our right hand in the air on the count of three. If you're willing to do this, can you say what they said at Gettysburg? When you see us lined up as one, sweep down the hill to victory. On the count of three, we'll bring our hand down as one. Father, I pray that indeed Pennsylvania will be like Little Round Top, and America will have a new birth of liberty. As one on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. That's one! Thank you. And we'll do that.
So that's what he posted that video with that commentary. And people did ridicule him, obviously. People did ridicule him. So it's okay. They showed Joe Biden. They showed people at a Biden event with hands in the air, for example. So they're just saying anytime somebody puts hands in the air, it's a Nazi salute. But actually, it's just they were just doing a prayer hands. So that was a funny story about everybody is a Nazi that I don't like. And then this was a great moment on CNN where Don Lemon got called out for asking for reparations. Don Lemon got excused from his late night show. Now apparently he just does a morning show for CNN. That's what I heard, at least. But here he looks like he's on late at night. He is aging a bit too. Let me show this. I'll show Don Lemon saying the king should give reparations. So here we go. I'll play this.
Well, this is coming when, there's all of this wealth and you hear about it comes as England is facing rising costs of living, a living crisis, austerity budget cuts, and so on. And then you have those who are asking for reparations for colonialism, and they're wondering, $100 billion, $24 billion here and there, $500 million there. Some people want to be paid back, and members of the public are wondering, why are we suffering when you are, you have all of this vast wealth? Those are legitimate concerns.
I think you're right about reparations in terms of if people want it, though, what they need to do is you always need to go back to the beginning of a supply chain. Where was the beginning of the supply chain? That was in Africa, and when across the entire world, when slavery was taking place, which was the first nation in the world that abolished slavery? The first nation in the world to abolish it. It was started by William Wilberforce, was the British. In Great Britain, they abolished slavery. 2,000 naval men died on the high seas trying to stop slavery. Why? Because the African kings were rounding up their own people. They had them on cages waiting in the beaches. No one was running into Africa to get them. And I think you're totally right. If reparations need to be paid, we need to go right back to the beginning of that supply chain and say, who was rounding up their own people and having them handcuffed in cages? Absolutely. That's where they should start. And maybe, I don't know, the descendants of those families where they died in the high seas, trying to stop the slavery, that those families should receive something too, I think, at the same time.
It's an interesting discussion, Hillary. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We'll continue to discuss in the future. So remember the impact of the supply chain crisis on the economy during.
She got him pretty good. Yeah, there were those Africans who rounded up their own people and then sold them off as slaves. Maybe you should talk to them. Bill Maher did a thing too about slavery on his show. People called him a white supremacist. He did a thing about slavery where he said, white people aren't the only people who have done slavery before, and acting like it's new is, and like it's only white people is just not a correct version of history. Acting like white people invented slavery and we're the only ones who had slaves is not a correct representation of history. So there, she just told Don Lemon that too. Don Lemon was talking about reparations. Let's go back to the African kings. Yes, lots of people had slaves, not just white people. So that was a good clip. Did you guys hear about this guy who got paid to spread propaganda about January 6th? Let me show you this. There was a guy that got paid. He got offered to get paid to spread fake propaganda about January 6th. I'll show you this video.
I was just offered $400 to make an anti-Donald Trump propaganda post related to the January 6th investigation that is completely not true. I should start out this video by saying I'm not a Donald Trump supporter, so that should give a little bit of context to where I'm coming from. I'm an attorney. I post legal news and analysis on related topics. Okay, here we go with the story. So first thing first, I get an email from somebody with the Good Info Foundation. We'll talk about them a little more in a minute. I'm going to refer to this person as Jane. Jane sent me a message letting me know she represented the Good Info Foundation and that she was willing to offer a paid collaboration to discuss some topics related to January 6th. I said, sure, why not? We'll win some more. Jane says the Good Info Foundation will give me $400 to make a post on my page and then share it to Instagram. So you see that blue link? All right, here we're going to follow it. These are the specific requirements in order to obtain that $400 of how I should refer to the January 6th Capitol raid. Number one, I must call this a criminal conspiracy. Number two, I must say Trump Republicans were responsible. Number three, I must frame it as an attack on my country, an attack on America or Americans, a criminal conspiracy, and a committed crime. I must attribute the matter to MAGA Republicans. I must make clear that this was ongoing and unresolved. And most importantly, that I must channel all of this unto the manipulation of voter agency so that I could turn their anger around this event into defiance that would make people more likely to vote in midterms. And the thing that struck me the most was this part, where I was told to talk about the aspects of the Trump campaign's plan. And I was supposed to say that the Trump campaign paid literally millions of dollars to make January 6th happen. So I figured, maybe I missed something. So I said, hey, Jane, what is the basis for the claim that the Trump campaign itself paid millions of dollars to make the January 6th siege of the Capitol happen? Jane doesn't answer the question. Hi, Preston. If you don't want to state that in the video, it's fine. You don't have to use all the bullet points provided. So I kept going. Sure, I'm just wondering if there's support for that claim. Jane doesn't answer again. Let me know if you are interested and the rate works for you. Thanks so much. I'm not interested and the rate doesn't work for me. This is the Good Info Foundation. They boast on their homepage that good information is the lifeblood of a democracy.
Sorry about the sound. I have a sound thing where it repeats the sound through the way I have it wired. So I fixed it halfway through because my wife told me about it. Thanks, Katie, for telling me about it. All right. So I want to make sure to check in on my Buy Me a Coffees. We'll see if anybody left a tip on Rockfin. Nobody yet, but you still have a chance. And I could open the phone. I tricked people with the title today. It always matters what you title something. I said, is it really happening? Just an open-ended question. And people say, what's that about? I want to tune in. Is it really happening? I answered that question already. You'll have to rewind to the beginning of the show. I answered it. The poll says that it's split. Half of people say it is happening. A little more than half, actually. So if it was an election, the democracy is that it is happening because it was like 55% of the vote. So it is happening as in this democracy. All right, let me see if there's anybody who bought me a coffee today. I think one person did. Walker did. Thanks, Walker, for buying the 3 coffees. Who says F the fake reality. And thanks for, and I mentioned Dimitri wrote to say he wasn't saying that thing about Jelena. Tabitha, thanks for the coffees from yesterday. Appreciate it. Yes, you can buy me coffees anytime and I read them on the show. Thanks, Jenny, who tipped $5 on Rockfin. And I could open the phone and people can call in and say if they think it's happening. So I'll open the phone up a little bit, see how it goes. 650-429-8294. You can say, oh, is it happening? Or is it the same old thing? 650-429-8294. I'll put up the thing. And you can still donate to the buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. I'll check it and read it on the air. And you can still donate on Rockfin. Are you guys getting echo now? I see people saying reverb, echo. Oh, it's better. Yeah, I think I fixed it. I opened up the phone so people can call in. We have more people tuned in than usual. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Make sure to tune in to all the shows. And remember, we are not monetized. So you can support the show using the ways that we mentioned. 650-429-8294. That's 650-GAY taxi. All right, we'll see how everybody's doing. I'll check in on D-Live. I'll check in on people still watch on D-Live, which isn't dead yet. People are tuned in more on YouTube, which is where everybody's at. Yes, it's happening, says 56% of people. Jelena says, I have to read the comments. I did read the comments, I think. Oh, no, that's the N-word guy. At least I recognize the number this time. But he can use different numbers. But I did recognize the number on that one. That's the guy that calls in to say the N-word. So we have that problem on this show. But I still opened it up. People are tuned in. See if anybody wants to call in and say if they think it's happening. 650-429-8294. And if nobody calls, that's cool too, because I can wrap things up. Jelena said, I have to read the comments. I think I read the comments. I read Walker said, F the fake reality. Tabitha 333 said, these cups are for you. Dimitri apologized to Jelena. I already mentioned that. Hey, you're on the air.
What's up, nigger?
Oh, great. There's only one way I could fix that, and that's to get a call screener, which is almost impossible. So just have to ignore it. I might wrap up the show, though, if nobody else wants to call in. 650-429-8294. I have enough people tuned in that you could call, but I'm not afraid to end the show either. All right, we'll do a countdown and then I'll wrap it up. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Thanks people who support the show. I'll check to see if anybody else dropped me any coffee. If you want to see the show, though, definitely good to throw down the tips and stuff. We appreciate it. And we'll try to do the show more. All right, that's it. I'll wrap up. Oops, it's probably the same guy. Hey, what's up, Jim?
Hey there, C-Word. How you doing, man?
Good, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay, man. Great show tonight, man. It was good. How long did it last?
The show? Oh, only about 15
Yeah,
minutes.
it was
Only
a
about
long
50.
time, I thought.
No, it's been relatively short. It's when I'm just talking by myself, it's harder to fill up a lot of time. So when I have Jelaine on the show,
Well,
it's easier.
it was all good, man. I loved it. The N-word, dude. I don't know how you could block that. I mean, that's got to be insane to try and block that.
Yeah, it's not possible because he's somehow able to change phone numbers. So whatever.
Like
Gotta
a
deal with it.
Russian bot.
Yeah, it is like
Like a Russian bot.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I still got the Russian bot shirt, man. I love that shirt.
Cool. Awesome. Well,
I wear it
man.
now, and like everybody's like, what are you saying? Are you pro communist, whatever?
Right.
Yeah, Russian. I'm pro Russian. That's what I am.
Right.
That's why I'm wearing the Russian bot shirt. I mean, come on. I mean, people are pretty much in their own worlds, it seems like.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Well, it was a good night. Good show tonight, man.
Thanks, I
you
appreciate
take care,
it.
and I hope you get good calls. And I hope the whatever goes away. That it's almost like a fly that you got to swat away, but it's still there, and you got to swat it away again.
Yeah.
I've been there, man. I've been there with bands. I've been there with everything, man. With my life,
Well, thanks, Jim. Thanks for calling in and being a real caller. I appreciate it.
Yeah, brother. All right. See you.
See ya. All right. I'll give a chance just in case anybody else wants to call in. Jim did break the ice, so I do want to extend the show a little bit in case anybody else wants to call in. And then I'll see if I can get a show ready for tomorrow and the next day. And then Jelaine will be back on Friday, she said. So I'll see if I can ask her if she wants to do the show tomorrow. But I have to be mindful of her schedule. All right, I'll give a second, and then I'm going to wrap up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, that's it. I'm going to wrap up the show. All right, thanks everybody for tuning in. Good to hear from you. I'll do a last check of my stuff. If you want to support the show, go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil, and I'll read it on the next show. And if you want to tune into the show, it's at 5 p.m. most of the time, Pacific time, 5 p.m. Pacific time. I set it up in advance. I do it on YouTube, DLive, and Rockfin. Let me check Rockfin too. Oh, thanks, Brian M., who got 3 coffees. Thanks, Brian M. I appreciate it. And that's it. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll wrap it up for tonight, and I'll see you at the next one. For now, that is what it is.